This is Lori Valone with Doggone Good Consulting. Together with Suki, Loki, and Isaac, we bring you Doggone Basics. Bite-sized bits of Power Platform knowledge designed to help you learn or refresh your knowledge of Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. Today's topic is solution planning. A recent challenge, the Made It with Power Apps challenge, asked for our approach to building Power Apps. And I shared my step-by-step approach to building solutions there. I won't go through the detail here. You might want to take a look at the video from that week 3 challenge to understand all the parts. But today we're going to focus just on the first two. Understand the problem and plan the solution. So, in working through this and thinking about my approach to this whole series, Doggone Basics, I decided to call a PAC meeting and have a discussion about what we might use as a sample application for demonstrating various Power Platform concepts. So, as always, thinking primarily about themselves, the final consensus was we should build an app about managing pet health and welfare. And I really couldn't argue with that. I think there's a lot of good things we can do with that, and it's something that most people can relate to. So the kinds of things that came up in our discussion were keeping up with medicines and supplements, inventorying and ordering products, Isaac said especially treats, tracking vet records and health status, providing instructions to pet care providers, pet sitters, boarding kennels. These are the kind of things that we're going to try to address in the app. So when we start thinking about planning the solution, the approach I like to use to defining requirements is called BIAS, Business Information Application and Systems. We use it in our organization, and I've found it to be very effective in helping you get to all of the right requirements. So let's take a look at the business requirements. Really understanding the problem. We just kind of generated a synopsis of it on the prior slide, but really having a clear understanding of the problem is fundamental to being able to establish the business requirements. And in this video, I'm not going to be able to go into the level of detail that you should if you're planning your own application. Rest assured that some of that is taking place offline. But in big picture terms, we want the solution to have the ability to support multiple pets. I have 3 obviously in my pack. We want to handle multiple types of pets, not just dogs, although the pack might argue with me that there aren't any other types of pets. But we want to make sure we can handle whatever type of pet it is. And we want to be able to capture basic information like a name, a photo, what breed, perhaps parentage if it's a registered animal. We want to be able to track what products are being used by each pet. Mine have supplements that they take. I have one on medicines. They have a particular type of food they use, and obviously you don't want to change a dog's food dramatically without doing it gradually. So what type of food, what type of products, what's the purpose, what's the name, where do you get it? If it's something with a dosage or a quantity that you need, how much do you feed them, how much medicine do you give them, how much do you have on hand, and at what point should you reorder, and what has been the order history. Those are all valuable things to keep track of, especially the more pets you have and the more products you're dealing with, the more important that becomes. Tracking past and future appointments. When do they go to the vet next? When is their next grooming appointment? Do they have any kind of therapy that they need to go to? All of those are important. And recording the health history, the shot record, what tags, did they issue a rabies tag, if that's required for your type of pet, weight, whatever, illnesses, tests, procedures. Ours have quite an extensive record with tests and procedures and surgeries. And then finally, generating care instructions for pet sitters, which is our preferred choice for care, or boarding kennels if pet sitter's not available, or if winter weather, in our case, is going to preclude a pet sitter from getting to our house to take care of our pets. So these are kind of a synopsis of the business requirements for our sample app that we're going to use. I could get into a lot more detail on each one of these, but for the purposes of this, I think you understand where I'm going with this. The more detail you have documented, the better. If you have mock-ups of your screens, that's great. If you know what you want functions to look like and how you want them to work, write it down. The more you have in writing or documented in some type of a visual, the better off and the easier it is when it comes time to actually building your solution. Okay, so let's move on to the I. I stands for information, and that's where we want to look at which pieces of information will we need to support this solution. So we're going to need some type of a pet profile. That's going to keep the name, the breed, the type, the color, what markings they have, the photo, date of birth or age. Sometimes we don't know exactly when our pet was born, but we do know how old they are. Sometimes we actually do have an exact date of birth. Lineage, licensing, whether they're microchipped or not, all of those are the kinds of information we want to store on a profile record. We're going to want some type of a product record that has the name of the product, what type it is, how it's used, where we get it, the dosages or amounts, the inventory and reorder level, and whether or not we have reordered yet, so we know whether or not it's time to place an order. We need an appointment history. When is the appointment? What day and time? What kind of appointment is it? Is it vet? Is it grooming? Is it a play date? Who's providing that service, and where do you need to go? And any notes about it. If you had a grooming and you weren't real happy with it, that might go in your notes. Vet record. Date, weight, purpose of the visit, outcome, treatment notes, all those kind of things would be important in a vet record. So that's the information that we need to store for our solution. So next is application A, and Power Apps is the application we choose to use to build the bulk of our functionality for our system. We may need to use Flow to handle some of the ordering capabilities, and we might even see if we can explore UI flows to help us with some of that. And for generating our care instructions and doing some analytics on the products we're using, we'll probably employ Power BI for some of that. And then when we look at system, our primary environment is going to be a Windows desktop. That's where we're going to provide the full functionality for our tool. That is where I build most of my apps for. I'm not building for a mobile environment most of the time for my day job or for my own personal use. But we will have a secondary environment for mobile. Maybe there we'll have some limited functionality, maybe just the name and the photo and the basic care information, so that a pet provider could readily see the information they need when they're taking care of the pets. So we've looked at the business, information, application, and system aspects of our requirements. With that full set of requirements, then we can move forward toward creating a solution. Now, we may add more into our solution as time goes on, but we've defined the basic core and we have an idea of what should go into our solution. Now, we can't build it all at once, so we'll start small and then we'll build out from there. We'll start doing that in our next episode. We hope you'll tune in and join us then as we continue building out our application.